Hello movie lovers and welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're hitting the road for some high-octane fun as we take a look at one of the wildest car chase comedies ever made, the Cannonball Run. Released in 1981, this star-studded film became a cult classic, but there's so much more under the hood than just fast cars and laughs. So buckle up as we race through 20 things you never knew about the Cannonball Run. The zany plot is based on a real-life event called the Cannonball Baker Sea to Shining Sea Memorial Trophy Dash, or simply the Cannonball Run. Brock Yates, the film's creator, was also the mastermind behind the race and its first victor in 1971. Alongside a three-man crew, he covered nearly 3,000 miles in a Dodge van, completing the journey in 40 hours and 51 minutes, with an average speed of 70 miles an hour. Inspired by this adventure, Yates envisioned turning the trip into a competitive event, and thus the Cannonball Run was born. He named the race as a tribute to legendary racer Irwin G. Cannonball Baker, who began his cross-country driving feats in 1914 and completed over 140 such trips. Before it hit cinemas in 1981, the concept of the wild cross-country race had already been explored in two other films. Both released in 1976, Cannonball starred David Carradine in a more serious take, while the Gumball Rally offered a comedic approach more in line with this film's tone. The film was originally conceived as a straightforward action film. Legendary actor Steve McQueen was meant to star in it, and the tone was going to be serious, with intense racing sequences taking centre stage. Sadly, McQueen passed away in 1980. Which led the film to be reworked as a comedy with Burt Reynolds in the lead role. Burt Reynolds, who played the lead role of J.J. McClure, was paid $5 million to star in the film. At the time, this was the highest salary any actor had ever been paid for a single movie role. Reynolds was the hottest star in Hollywood, having already made box office gold with films like Smokey and the Bandit and Deliverance. Reynolds later admitted that he regretted taking the role. In interviews, he has said that he did not enjoy the film and only took the job because his close friend, director Hal Needham, asked him to, and because of the lucrative salary, of course. Reynolds said he did the film for all the wrong reasons. The role of Fender Baum, played by Sammy Davis Jr., was originally meant for comedian Don Rickles. For reasons that were never fully explained, Rickles had to back out, and Davis Jr. was brought on board. Despite the change, Davis Jr. made the role his own, and he later returned for Cannonball Run 2. The fast-paced, dangerous stunts in the Cannonball Run weren't without real-life consequences. Stuntwoman Heidi Von Beltz was injured after a stunt involving an Aston Martin went wrong. The car, which had no seatbelts installed, crashed into a truck, leaving Von Beltz paralysed. The incident led to significant legal battles and raised questions about safety standards in stunt work. In fact, her lawsuit against the producers led to required seatbelt use in all stunt cars and caused the Directors Guild to prohibit directors from altering stunts on location. Most people remember Cannonball Run 2, but fewer are aware of the unofficial third film in the series, Speed Zone, also known as Cannonball Run 3, Cannonball Fever, One for the Money, and Speed Zone Fever. Released in 1989, it had almost no connection to the original films, aside from featuring Jamie Farr as Sheikh Abdul Ben Falafel. The film starred John Candy, Eugene Levy, and Brooke Shields, but it was a massive flop. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would be better than a front row seat at the finish line. Roger Moore's role is a hilarious parody of his James Bond persona. He plays Seymour Goldfarb Jr., a man who believes he's James Bond and drives an Aston Martin just like 007. While Moore had fun with the part, the Bond producers were reportedly unhappy with him spoofing the character. After this, future Bond actors were contractually forbidden from making fun of the role in other films. The Cannonball Run films were produced by Hong Kong film company Golden Harvest, and they chose to use the franchise to introduce Jackie Chan, who was already a superstar in Hong Kong, to Western audiences. Chan's first US production, The Big Brawl, had flopped, but he was one of Golden Harvest's hottest properties. Chan played a high-tech car driver who uses martial arts and gadgets to win the race. However, he was very disappointed that his character was portrayed as Japanese, not Chinese, which didn't sit well with him given his pride in his heritage. Despite this, the film played a pivotal role in broadening Chan's global appeal, and he returned for the sequel. Director Hal Needham showed bloopers during the end credits, and Jackie Chan loved the idea so much that he started using blooper reels in his own films. Starting with Dragon Lord in 1982, Chan's films began featuring hilarious outtakes and failed stunts, a trademark that became a fan favourite in his later movies. Many of the ridiculous tactics used by the drivers in the movie were based on real-life tricks used during the Cannonball Baker Trophy Dash. In the real race, Brock Yates and his team once used an ambulance to avoid speeding tickets, and another team dressed as priests to fool the police. Both of these schemes were worked into the movie, with Reynolds and Dom DeLuise using the ambulance ploy, and Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin pretending to be priests. There was also a team of women in skin-tight jumpsuits whose feminine wiles got them out of tickets, which inspired Adrienne Barbeau and Tara Buckman's characters. The Cannonball Run is packed with fun cameos. Peter Fonda, known for Easy Rider, appears briefly as a Hells Angel biker in one of the film's chaotic fight scenes. Writer Brock Yates made it into the movie as a race official who lays down the rules at the starting line, and director Hal Needham as an ambulance EMT. It was a huge box office success. It earned over $160 million worldwide, making it one of the top grossing comedies of 1981. A significant return on its reported $18 million budget. It was the year's sixth biggest movie. Despite its financial success, it was torn apart by critics. Roger Ebert gave the film just half a star, calling it an abdication of artistic responsibility at the lowest possible level of ambition. In other words, they didn't even care enough to make a good lousy movie. Farrah Fawcett was even nominated for a Razzie Award, but lost to Diana Scarwid for the film Mommy Dearest. Incidentally, Fawcett was also nominated the previous year for her role in Saturn III. Sega game designer Yu Suzuki was so inspired by the film that he used it as the basis for his hit 1986 arcade game Outrun. The game became a huge success, allowing players to race across different landscapes at high speeds, much like the characters in the movie. Roy Tatum, Burt Reynolds' stand-in, had a small role in the film. He appeared as the highway patrol officer who pulls over the Lamborghini driven by the two female characters. Tatum looked so much like Reynolds that he often confused the cast and crew on set, and his brief appearance is a fun Easter egg for fans who know about his connection to Reynolds. The red Ferrari 308 GTS driven by Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. in the movie wasn't just any car. It was Hal Needham's own personal vehicle. Needham, who was a former stuntman, trusted his experience and the skill of his actors to use his car for the movie's wild scenes. There have been talks about rebooting the Cannonball Run for years, but the project has been stuck in development limbo. In 2016, it was announced that Warner Brothers was working on a remake, with writers like Ethan Coen and directors like Doug Liman attached at various points. However, nothing concrete has materialised yet. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the Cannonball Run. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.